Hi guys, welcome back to Three Little Babies. Today I'm actually going to be doing a Q&A. Over the past couple months I have been getting a whole bunch of questions on my TikTok account, and I have been writing them down in my notes app, and I have so many. So hopefully this video doesn't run long. If it does, this might have to be 2 parts. But I guess let's just get into it. First question is, where did you get your bassinet? This is probably my most common question. As you can see, my bassinet is behind me. So I actually made the bassinet by hand. I have a whole series of videos on my TikTok explaining and showing how exactly I made the bassinet. So if you would like to see that, go on my TikTok. I have a whole playlist called Bassinet. It's super easy. You can make it as well. I teach you guys how to do all the knots and everything. Next question is, where did you get your reborn? So Luca was the first. I'm not going to be sharing where I got him. I actually made Bodhi from a blank kit from Bountiful Baby. And I had Stellan. She was the Joseph sleeping kit from Bountiful Baby. I also made her. Charlotte I got from my grandmother. She actually found her at a craft fair and she mailed her to me as a surprise. I ended up finding out that she was a Bountiful Baby kit. I cannot remember the name for the life of me. So Silver was the first reborn that I actually purchased, like a made reborn. So I got her painted by an artist on reborns.com. And then, yeah, I think that's it. That's all the reborns that I've had so far. And then that kind of leads me into the next question, which is, how much were your reborns? So I'm not going to be answering the question for Luca, but for Bodhi, his kit itself was about $50-ish. And then I also had to buy all of the supplies that went with making a reborn. So in total, probably about like $100 to like purchase everything. But then you have to count in like how much time it actually took me to make him and paint him and root him. So he was like the most time consuming, obviously. Silver, I paid $275 to have her painted with heat set paints, and she came to me bald. So then I also had to root her. But yeah, that's how much they were. What is the best place to get them? So reborns.com is a really good place to get. And another like best place to get is straight from an artist if you meet them on like TikTok or Instagram. Facebook you have to be a little bit careful of, because I do know that there's a lot of scams on Facebook and Etsy. Places that you do not want to buy reborns is Amazon, Temu, Facebook Marketplace you have to be really careful of. There's a lot of scammers. Walmart, I've heard people try to get them from. TikTok Shop is selling scam dolls. Temu, AliExpress, Shein, all of these places are selling scam, counterfeit, stolen sculpts. You don't want to support those type of people. They stole the sculpts from a reborn artist who put time and effort into creating that sculpt out of clay. So it's basically just hurting the reborn artist community. You do not want to do that. If you are looking for a cheaper alternative to a reborn, great places like Paradise Galleries or Ashton Drake. Those are really, really good places to look. I would also recommend those places for people who are looking for their children, just because reborns are very expensive. They are very like well-made, handmade, kind of delicate, honestly. Their hair can be ripped out super easily. Their paint can be rubbed off if they're held the wrong way. So they're for a more mature audience. If you are looking for one for a younger kiddo, like I said, Paradise Galleries or Ashton Drake is perfect. My next question is, what size are all of the babies? So Luca is, I think, about 17.5 to 18 inches long. He fits preemie clothes and newborn clothes pretty well. He kind of swims in newborn a little bit just because his waist is really small. He's a little scrawny guy. Bodhi is 21 inches long, I think, and he fits 0 to 3 the best, but he can also fit newborn and some 3-month clothes. And then Silver fits newborn, 0 to 3, and some 3-month as well. She does have bigger feet. I think she has the biggest feet and hands out of all 3 of my babies. What made you love reborns? I've always loved dolls. They always held a place in my heart. My grandmother is into collecting dolls, so I feel like I kind of got it from her. My neighbor growing up had a whole bunch of Ashton Drake dolls, so we were always playing with them, and I think I just grew to love reborns from that experience. I basically got back into dolls in my 20s. It's a whole big story. If you want to know more about why I came into Reborns and got into this community, I have a video pinned up in the iCards. I don't know which side it's on, but you can go and watch that, and it explains basically everything. What length and weight would you recommend for a baby? So it all depends on what you want. What I like is anywhere from like 19 to 21 inches. That's usually about like newborn-ish size. Anything smaller, you fall into the preemie category, which is where Luca is, and finding clothes for him is a little bit hard. I don't really like to purchase preemie clothes like from the store, just because I do know how hard it is to buy them and how hard it is to find them, and I don't want parents of preemie children, like actual real life babies, having difficulty buying clothes for their real life infant. And the weight is up to you. I prefer a heavier baby. I think Bodhi weighs about like 6 pounds. Silver is almost 7 pounds, I think, and then Luca is about 5 pounds. My light just went out, so. But yes, I recommend anywhere from like 5 to 6 pounds for like the average doll. That's probably good enough, especially if it's a newborn size. How do you seal baby bottles? And I take a tiny bit of 100% silicone and I just cover the hole in the nipple of the bottle from the inside. You can also use super glue. It just depends on what the nipple is actually made out of. Some silicones don't stick to other silicones, so you might have to use some super glue. I've heard people use tape. I don't really recommend that because it can leak and you don't want that leaking all over the place. Do your reborns feel like real children to you? No. I know that they are dolls. I know that they don't breathe, they don't make noise, they don't use the bathroom, they don't eat. I know that they are just objects, and I understand that. I know a lot of people think that the reborn community don't really understand that they are dolls. I do. I can't really speak for everybody else, but yeah. They don't really feel like real children just because, like, I'm not waking up at midnight to give them a night feed, or I don't have to worry about someone being home with them while I'm at school. I know that they're dolls, and I feel like when I first started, Luca kind of filled that hole in my heart about the real children, but I realized that they aren't real. Do you sell and make them? I do. I guess you could call me a reborn artist. I've done a couple customs for some people, and I made my grandmother one. I've made Bodhi. I've made Stellan. So yeah, I'm trying to get into doing it professionally. I did recently just buy a Serena kit that I'm working on, so I'm super excited about that. If you see this in the future and you want to see if I have any up for adoption, I do have a reborns.com account, and that should be linked down below in the information of this video. My next question is, how old are you? Right now, as of February 2024, I am 21 years old. How old are your reborns? So when people ask me this, I never know how to answer it. I'm going to tell you when I got them and like how old they physically are, like since me having them. I got Luca in June of 2023, Bodhi in July or August of 2023, and then I got Silver on October 1st, I'm pretty sure, of 2023. So they're all less than a year old of me having them. Now, I know some people ask like, oh, well, they're sculpt, like how old is their sculpt based on? So Bodhi, I think, is probably about 3 months, just based on the amount of hair that he has and how big he is. Silver, I would probably say about the same, 0 to 3 months. And then Luca is obviously probably like a fresh newborn since he is so small. How do you paint them? So there are basically two separate ways that you can do this. You can use air dry paints, which is my preferred method, or you can use heat set paints. I won't really be discussing heat set paints just because I'm not super familiar with that. But for air dry paints, I use acrylic paint watered down with distilled water, and then you add a little bit of this magic mixture called floating medium to make it stick to the vinyl. There's a whole bunch of different stuff going in depth on it. I may make a video in the future showing you guys the exact steps that I use to make the doll. If you'd be interested in that, leave a comment down below. I know there are some people out there who've asked me to do a full tutorial on how to paint a reborn. I just haven't done it yet. Can you explain silicones versus vinyls? Okay, so silicones, I'm going to be using Luca in this example, although I do know that he is a counterfeit reborn. But silicones are basically like a really squishy material. They can twist and bend, but they can also rip. Vinyls, like Bodhi, he is a more of like a plasticky feel. He doesn't really squish. I mean, you can squish his cheeks a little bit, but he's definitely a lot harder. His arms and legs don't really bend, and you know, you can't open his mouth, so he has to have a magnet for his pacifier. Silicones can basically be cut to have a drinking wet system, or you can just like have their mouth open so they can take a passy or a bottle. Silicones, like I said, they can rip super easily just because of the material. Their hair can fall out super easily because, sorry about that, but my light died, so now we have to deal with the big light of my room, because unlike vinyls, you can actually glue their hair down. Silicones, you can't, you know, take the inside of their head and put glue in it because they're just one piece. Vinyls usually have a cloth body. Who is your favorite? I get this question a lot, and it changes every single day. For the past couple days, it's actually been Bodhi. Pretty recently, I actually gave him some more hair and reweighted him so that he's super squishy and really, really floppy head. So I've just been enjoying that. Do you like open or closed-eyed dolls? I prefer closed eyes. When you're in public, you can kind of like pass them as a real baby. Like, it adds to the realism of them just not staring at you constantly. You can pass them off as like being asleep and stuff. And plus, I don't really like when like open-eyed dolls just stare at you 100%. It's honestly a little scary to me. Where do you get the baby's clothes from? My favorite place to go is Goodwill. One, because they're cheaper, and two, you never know what you're gonna find, so it's like a little scavenger hunt. It's really fun. For sleepers, I love to go to Walmart, and specifically their Modern Moments sleepers. Oh my gosh, I probably have about 20 of them. They are so cute. They have such cute pattern. Target, Old Navy's clearance. Temu has some stuff. You do have to dig on those kind of apps. Like, local thrift shops are the best, and then just like clearance everywhere else. Where do you get silver earrings? Just recently got a whole bunch of earrings from my mom, the ones that she's getting rid of. A gigantic pack of like 200 earrings off of Temu that are just like little sparkly studs. And then that's also where I got her silver butterfly ones as well. How do you root a doll's hair? Okay, so for vinyl, we're going to use Bodhi as an example. Basically what you would do is, after you're done painting and the varnish has set on the doll, you're going to take the head, which is empty, there isn't any weight or stuffing or anything put in it, and you're going to fill a sock full of rice. You heat the sock up in the microwave and you stuff it inside of the opening of the head. You let the vinyl heat up, and then you use mohair, which I get from Etsy, and felting needles, which I get from Bountiful Baby. And you basically mono root. You could like root a loop for eyelashes. It just depends on the technique and the style that you want. I like to do mono rooting on the head and root a loop for the eyelashes. If you want more on that, I might do a whole video on just rooting. It takes a while. once everything is done and you've cut it to where you want it, you can take the sock out and put glue. I like to use just like tacky glue, and you smear it around inside their head, coat everything, let that dry, and then you can build your doll. My next question is, do you use the same diapers? Well, I recently posted a TikTok that went kind of viral. I think it got like 1 million or so views about me explaining how and why I reuse a diaper, a disposable baby diaper, until it physically breaks. I think Luca was the doll that I was showing off in the video, and I got so much hate for it. Now, yes, I do buy a pack of diapers, like the smallest pack that you can buy. And I still have the diapers from when I started. I have like 99% of them. I think I went through maybe like, I don't know, not even 3 diapers per doll at this point. I like literally use it until either the Velcro does not Velcro anymore. It is ripped. It is like disgusting. It is like dirty somehow. So yes, I do reuse them, and whenever or if I get out of reborns and I still have diapers left, obviously I will donate them to someone who actually needs them. They're not gonna go to waste. But like I said, I did get a lot of hate and a lot of people suggesting that I use reusable diapers. So I actually went out and bought a pattern to make the baby's clothes, and I found one that had a like reusable diaper pattern in it. So hopefully I will be getting into using reusable diapers for them instead of using the disposable ones. And yes, I will donate all of the disposable diapers that I have. Do not worry. It says, what is a reborn bottle and what is it used for? So a reborn bottle is basically any bottle, formula bottle, infant bottle that is sealed, so liquid does not come out of it, and it is usually filled with a fake formula type substance. These are used for role plays. I like to do them for role plays on my videos. You can use them for photos, like anything like that. I use a mixture of lotion, water, and a teeny tiny bit of yellow food coloring to make my fake formula. I know that there is this stigma that the reborn community steals formula from moms and parents of babies who need it. I have not met a single person who uses actual real live formula since being in the community. And I haven't even heard about anyone doing it on TikTok, at least in my little circle that I have. I would never do that. I do understand that there are babies out there that need it more than a doll. So I don't even like to use real food options even. I tried to use flour. I did not like that at all. I do know some people use like powdered coffee creamer. I just use straight up lotion, stuff that's like not even edible. But yeah. Next question is, do you ever feel embarrassed when out in public with them? I feel like when I first started, I kind of felt like nervous that someone was gonna like point out that I had a doll and kind of make fun of me. Not anymore. No, I'm kind of just like over it. I've done it a lot of times. I've taken them out in public that I'm kind of just like used to it. And if people have questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. If anything, I'm kind of nervous that like people will approach me. But so far I haven't had any like mean, opinionated people who have talked to me, just people who seemed interested. My next question is, how do you do their hair? So all 3 of my dolls have 3 different types of hair. Bodhi, as you can tell, has the curliest hair. Silver actually has like a wavy type, and then Luca is just pin straight. So what I like to do for their hair is I have this spray bottle just filled with water. I used to do water and a little bit of conditioner. I don't really like to do that now because the conditioner does build up in their hair and you do have to wash it more often, which leads to more brushing, which leads to more hair falling out. So I just do straight up water, and I like to do like a mist, and specifically on Bodhi, I basically just like scrunch his hair, like go like this, and his curls form. For Silver, I just brush it out, and for Luca, I just brush it out. Her waves form normally, and Luca's hair just does what it wants to do. But the brushes that I use like a really soft bristle baby brush that I got on Amazon or Temu, I can't remember. And then if they do have knots, like after I shampoo them, or Bodhi, since his hair is curly, I do have a fine tooth comb, and you always start from the end and work your way to the root, just so you don't pull out too much hair. Where do you get their pacifier? I have a lot of different pacifiers for my dolls. I have a mixture of magnetic ones, like this one for Bodhi, and I have some intact ones for Luca. Luca's, most of them are the Nook brand, which I got from Walmart. This is a Tommy Tippy one. This is actually my favorite pacifier. This came with my bottle. It was like a 2-in-1 pack, but this is a magnetic pacifier that I got on Walmart.com. I did get a couple full intact silicone ones on Temu, and a couple from the dollar store. I do know that I've also have some Parent Choice ones from Walmart. So most of them I got from Walmart. But yeah, where did you get the car seat and stroller that you use for your babies? So my car seat and stroller I both got on Facebook Marketplace. The car seat specifically was a expired infant car seat, and the person who was getting rid of it was getting rid of it for free, and she did put out there that it was expired and was not safe to use for an actual baby. So I let her know that, hey, is it okay if I can use this for a doll? Like, it's not going to be a real live infant going in it. And she's like, yeah, sure. So I got that one for free. And then the stroller that actually goes with it, it's like the Chico frame that my car seat snaps into. I got that on Facebook Marketplace as well for about $20. How do you get the pacifier to move in your TikTok videos? When I do like a video with the babies, and their pacifier moves, it's all about angles. So sometimes they're like wrapped in a blanket, and you can kind of just like put your finger underneath and move it like up and down so it looks like they're actually sucking on it. If you only see one side of his face like this, my finger is probably on this side making it move. They don't move by themselves. That would be really cool, but they don't really do that. Another question is, do they make noise? So none of my dolls have a voice box, a sound machine, anything like that inside of them. I did post a couple videos recently on TikTok where Bodhi, I think specifically, was making some noise. The way that I did that, I just took a tiny speaker, hooked it up to my phone with Bluetooth, and played some baby noises that I found on YouTube. How does your family feel about the babies? So my parents don't really like to acknowledge them that much. They don't really like me going out in public with them. They don't want to be seen with them. Yeah. My extended family doesn't really even know about it, other than like my grandmother and my grandfather, and that's about it. How did you pierce Silver's ears? So what I did, they're the felty needles that I was talking about when you root a doll's hair. The ones that I get are the uncut version, and then there's this tiny piece of metal that kind of looks like an Allen wrench at the end, that comes off of the needle once it's broken. I used that because it is a little bit thicker than the rooting needle, and I just marked out where I wanted the earrings to go, and I heated up her head, and I kind of just stuck the needle in there and then put an earring in. It was pretty simple. It's not too invasive. I mean, it does leave a little hole in her ear when she doesn't have an earring in. Obviously, you know that she probably would have an earring, but yeah. What is the plastic that you put behind their heads for? So for most of my dolls, I like to put plastic wrap behind their hair. Bodhi actually doesn't have any right now, just because I'm not really moving too much with him. This is to protect their hair from getting knotted or pulled out on different like fibers, especially when they're in the car seat and stroller. I like to put one behind their head just because of like the vibration of moving in a car or moving. I don't want their hair to kind of get snagged in the fibers, and then when I pick them up or move them, their hair kind of pulls out. Like I said, it also protects their hairstyle. So if I have Bodhi's gorgeous curls all done, I put the plastic wrap there to protect them from getting messed up, basically. How did you come up with their names? I get this question like pretty often when I go on live. And when I first got Luca, I thought Luca was actually going to be called Bodhi, And I called him Bodhi for about like 2 days, and then I realized like, I don't really like that. Like it doesn't fit him. So I scrolled on my list a little bit more and I found Luca, and I'm like, ooh, I really like Luca. I think Luca fits. So I basically just accumulated those names over the years, and then when I got Bodhi, I'm like, obviously he's gonna be Bodhi. Like he looks so much like a Bodhi, guys. And then when I got Stellan's name, oh my gosh. Her full name was Stellan Maris, which basically meant sea star, and I absolutely loved that name. Like if I'm able to have a child in the future, I'm gonna name my child after that because it's such a pretty name. But I really liked the name Stella, but like Stella is just too popular. I don't really like popular, well-known names. And I needed like a beachy feel to it because that's kind of like my whole vibe on TikTok. And the boys have very beachy names, so I kind of wanted her to fit in. And I really liked the name Marin, but looking at her, she didn't really match the name Marin. So that's how I landed on her middle name as Maris. And then, like I said, I liked the name Stella. I love S names for girls. And I'm like, let me see if there's like alternatives to Stella. So then I found Stellan, and I just absolutely love the name. And I like how it sounded with Maris, so it was like Stellan Maris, because I was going to name her Stellan Marin, but I'm like, I don't like how they both end in the same N, so I did Stellan Maris. And then for Silver, I couldn't find a name for her for like the longest time, and I was scrolling through like unique baby names, and then I found this list online that was like old baby names from like the 50s, and I found Silver on there. And it was like originally masculine, but I'm like, oh my gosh, like that is such like a strong name. And again, I love S names for girls, so like I feel like it just fit so well. Her full name is Silver Kai, so I had to tie that in a little bit, but I never really call her Silver Kai. I just call her Silver. And then people always ask me, well, how come the girls that you've had have had middle names and the boys don't? And I'm like, I don't really know. Maybe I should give them middle names, but I just never do. What sculpts are your dolls? So I think I already answered this. Luca is technically a counterfeit Lulu by Joanna Kazmierczak. Bodhi is a Reese Asleep by Bountiful Baby, and then Silver is Yusuf by Bonnie Sibin. How do the pacifiers stay in? So, like I said, Bodhi and Silver have magnetic pacifiers. As you can see, the magnet is right there. And they have just a little magnet inside of their lips. And then they just attract to each other. For Luca, his mouth is cut open so he can actually hold onto like an intact pacifier. What is your dream kit? Okay, I do have an answer for this. I have not had an answer for this like every single time I've been asked it, but I do have an answer for this now. It is the Luke kit by Tay Friedis. I think that's how you pronounce their last name. I'm sorry if it isn't. But oh my god, that kit is so freaking cute. What is a naked mole rat? Okay, a naked mole rat is what I used to call Stellan, because I didn't have her mohair come in time, and for a while I like had her and she was bald, so I would call her my little naked mole rat. If you guys remember that, you guys are the OGs and you have been here forever. But yeah, I got that I got that message, or I got that comment on one of my videos, and I just started laughing. And then a last question is, will you ever have kids of your own? Now, this is phrased a lot nicer than what I normally get on my videos. A lot of people just say, well, why don't you just have kids? Why don't you just adopt a child? You know how many babies need a real parent in this world? Why can't you just have a child and stop playing with the doll? So I phrased it a lot nicer than my normal comments. And I hope to have kids in the future. It's uncertain for me. If you want the whole story, like I said, it's linked up in the iCards. I would love to in the future. If I can't, I would love to adopt or foster or anything that I can do to help. But adoption takes a lot of time and a lot of money. I'm a broke college student right now, so I don't really have the resources and time to raise an actual child. So I feel like reborns are, a good common ground in the future, if I end up not being able to have children, I would love to adopt. But yeah, I think that's all the questions that I have. Okay, that is everything. So if you guys have any more questions that you would want me to answer, go ahead and comment them down below. You can also comment them on my TikTok videos. That's where I got the majority of these questions. So yeah, I would be happy to answering more questions in the future. But that is all I have for now. So thank you guys for watching, and see you guys later. Bye!